Today, we are very pleased to have Raja Akmal, Managing Director of X86 Network, Malaysia's leading data center interconnect service provider. Thank you, Raja, for joining us today. How are you?
Thanks, Casey. Yeah, I'm good. My name is, as you mentioned, is Raja Akmal. I'm the Managing Director and the founder of X86 Networks in Berhad. So the company was formed back in 2014, focusing more on very specific in connectivity business. And we don't do all other stuff like IT in general. Put it simple, we are a connectivity service provider in Malaysia, and we cover some of the countries in this region, including Singapore and Hong Kong.
As you mentioned, you focus on data center interconnection mainly, and can you explain the concept of DCI and why it's significant?
All right, so the word of data center interconnect in specific is actually focused on a subset of connectivity business, right? In specific, as per what the word says, is connecting between the data centers. And why it is very significant at the current market is due to the fact that how the market in terms of connectivity had changed. 10, 15 years ago, most of the traffic are north-south traffic. What does it mean by north-south traffic? Meaning to say it's from the user connecting to the data center, right? User accessing a data in the data center, right? So that is called a north-south. That was what used to be back 10, 15 years ago. But moving to the current era, whereby we have a lot of hyperscalers like Ali, Baidu, ByteDance, Azure, Microsoft, right? So we have more of west-east connectivity requirement. So east-west connectivity refers to data center connectivity, right? And X86 in specific focus on that to capture that particular market. Having said that, when we capturing that particular market, and why is this so significant? It is because we serve the content provider themselves, the OOBs, right? And we are not serving the end customers or the end consumers directly. And when we serve them, they are the one who's serving to the end consumer. Hence why it is significant and why it is highly sought after. Just that probably the end normal consumer may not know about this kind of business. But in the real connectivity world, and from the hyperscalers and the OOB players perspective, that is something what they need.
Yes, that's true. And through X86 Network's global services, and what advantages do businesses gain by connecting to multiple internet exchanges, such as Malaysia Internet Exchange, M6, and DKIX on your website?
All right, I prefer to define this in comparison how things are being done previously. All right, say that Casey, you own a company that requires an internet connection access. Back then, you have your servers in a server farm in the data center. You then engage with a specific service provider of your choice to provide you with a connection to the internet. But that is how things being done previously, right? And now we move to where the area which I have explained to you earlier on the east-west connectivity. It brings an advantages whereby when people connect to us, our data center interconnect services, they do not need to engage individually to all these providers. They may connect to us, we link them to all these providers, right? So it's like similar to people say a one-stop shop, whereby you come to join into our ecosystem. You have a connection to our network. We bring you to all these internet exchanges, like for instance, Malaysian Internet Exchange, which is MyX. From there, they are able to connect to the rest of the providers in Malaysia. Likewise, if they wanted to connect to the Internet Exchange in Singapore, for instance, we provide the Data Center Interconnect, so-called a DCI, right? Brings them to Singapore for them to connect to all the providers in Singapore, including the internet exchanges. So what are the advantages here? You connect to a single port, you brings everything to your infrastructure, right?
It's very efficient for customers to connect to data centers they need, and you provide quite comprehensive services to them. As you claim to be the Data Center Interconnect King in Malaysia and Asia, what differentiates you from other DCI service providers in this region?
All right, as just a footnote over there, Data Center King is a self-proclaimed note, right? And the reason why we self-proclaim the Data Center King in Malaysia, due to the fact that we are neutral, right? We have the incumbents who are doing similar business model. However, they are not neutral, and their presence probably limited to the data center which they own or they operated. Yeah. Unlike X86, we are a neutral party. We don't own any data center, no. We only own the services. And it's been our practice whereby to all the major data centers, especially in Malaysia, right? Wherever that there is a requirement, we will build up our node over there. And whoever wants to go to that particular data center, they can engage us, right? That what makes us the king. Yes. Right. So hence the reason why I guess in my portfolio and to the Malaysian ecosystem in specific, being neutral and being everywhere, pretty much all the major data centers in Malaysia is one of the reasons why we self-proclaim ourselves as a king.
Yeah. So, as the potential security threats exist, what security measures does the company implement to protect the data in transit between data centers all around the world?
Right. So security is a language whereby usually being parked to the user themselves. In this case, is our customers. Our data center interconnect by default is a circuit end-to-end protected services whereby only the interconnected customers of that particular port which they are connected to may only talk to the other end which is also owned by them. If I have another users or another customers which is connected to the same equipment, they wouldn't be able to see whatever is being transacted on the other port owned by the other customers. And how we do that? Simple. Is a layer 2 security. Packet in, packet out. Even we ourselves as a service provider, we don't know what is being transacted on our network. We only see their bandwidth utilizations. This is being done as such to maintain the integrity of the services. We do not know what's going on, what are you pushing in terms of traffic. We don't do deep packet inspection, and all is being done based on a network layer security and a policy that we have in place. However, point to note that X86, we are yet to be ISO certified in terms of IT security management, ISMS 20000. But our practice is following the ISMS 20000, 20001 to be specific, practice in order to keep our services intact from IT service management security perspective. From technical point of view, security, I would say implementation that we have done, we have a proper policy to maintain all our customer circuit. All right, we do have a monitoring system and track monitoring system that always monitors our network, and our network itself is being built based on redundant, reliable, and self-healing network. So all this combined create a package, right? As a package to be served to the customers that maintains the integrity, security from potential threats. However, point to note, if there is zero-day attack, meaning to say there's a totally new threat that we wouldn't know. I'm not saying that we will not be attacked by this. We will eventually, but obviously when the zero threat comes, we will take a specific measure to basically enhance our network, further secure our network when times comes. So with all this process, this is how we manage the threat and vulnerability within our network.
Yes, so you have good measures to protect the.
Yes, because security, as I mentioned earlier, is a word that you put to the customers. It's always evolved. You think that today your network is pretty secured, but the next day a new threat comes in and you're not prepared. So it's a constant, I would say, activity that need to be done as long as we have an outline policy, right? So if you follow that policy or processes, you should be good.
Yes. Thank you very much, Raja, for today. It's very informative.
All right. Thank you very much, PC. Thanks for coming as well.
Thank you.
All right.